Cuz sent a guy to me. My wife was pregnant. We were living in an apartment in Catskill on Corderskill Road. We went through all this, and I was getting ready to move to Staten Island. And we still were there for a little while before we did, after all this went down. He sent a guy to me, to the house, secret, whatever you want to call it, my wife, me. So I listened to him. Cuz said, if you leave, I'm a messenger, whatever. If you leave, this was in the aftermath of what the gun, the whole thing. You got to remember, Tyson was a ward of the state. He was put in Cuz's custody. Cuz was looking to adopt him for obvious reasons. So he had control, and he loved him. How dare I say anything less? I won't. But it made sense, too. But he was a ward of the state still. Do you know what that means? There's rules. It means the state's still overlooking it. Mm-hmm. If he ain't living the right life, you got to remember, he came out of a jail. So, reform school. But if he ain't living the life, he could be taken away from Cuz. What's not living the right life? Well, he wasn't in school no more. They didn't know about it. He had some things that were going on. We won't get into that right now, in school and different things, whatever. Mm-hmm. And he had his trainer put a gun to his head. That ain't so good. If a report came back to them that happened, he would have been taken away from Cuz. That couldn't happen. Nobody knows this. Mm-hmm. I talk about it a little bit, but never probably, because why would I? I don't know. Why am I doing it now? I don't know. Because I am. Because it's now. Because it's now, maybe. Maybe because it's now. I don't know. So he sent this man that, obviously we both knew. And he said, here's the deal, Teddy. If no talk about this, wants it to, disappear, basically, you leave, and he will give you 5%, his word. Can you imagine? He will give you 5% of Tyson's earnings for the rest of his career. And but I don't regret it one bit, because it wouldn't have happened anyway. See, that's where I could be honest with my people. Say, "Oh, stand-up guy," because I told him to shove it where the in that place, and tell Cuz to shove it in that freaking place. I was mad. Teddy, don't get angry. Don't get angry. Are you out of here? Are you serious? Get out of here. Tell him to go shove it over. And, my wife was like, but, and then people after, why didn't you take the deal? It wasn't a deal. It was an escape clause for Cuz. It was an insurance policy that that this kid wouldn't be taken away from him. And thank God he wasn't. I wasn't going to go and say nothing. They didn't have to worry about it. Cuz forgot who I was. Yeah. Cuz forgot why he went to court for me. Because of those characteristics that he said he loved and he noticed and that he admired. I didn't lose those characters. He forgot that was me. He forgot who he was talking to. Yeah. He didn't have to do that. How about that's why I told him to shove it up his ass? Not because of the other insult. Yeah. And then when people said to me, "Oh, you would stand up," because it was around a little bit. It was around in the circles. And then when people, stand up, Teddy. He didn't care about the money. I said, stand up, Teddy. What are you talking about? How about just realistic, Teddy? How about I live in a real world that I was never going to get that money? So I'm saying I'm standing up to something that I knew never existed. So I ain't stand up. Not in that way. I am in other ways maybe, but not. Don't put a medal on my chest for that, because that never existed. Yeah. It was never meant to exist. But he didn't even understand. That was the one thing that really disappointed me in Cuz. I was like, Cuz, you really allowed this to get to you, where you allowed it to really fog up your thinking to the point where you're smarter than that, you're better than that, that you would actually think you got to freaking offer me a freaking pieces of silver.
Yeah.
You really think that? That's what you freak you like. All that you told me that you love me and that I was the young master and all this, and you think you were gonna buy me, and that was gonna keep me quiet. How about I would keep quiet because I would always keep quiet?
So he thought maybe you might betray him.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. And why did he think that? No, really.
Fear?
Yeah, but fear is at the essence of everything. Is connected with everything. Fear of losing what he was going to lose. But it was more than fear. It was him not believing in the things that he told me he believed in. He didn't even know that. He believed in me because I was a stand-up guy, because I didn't sell myself, because I didn't freaking turn evidence. I didn't make a deal. I didn't do, and that's why he went to court. That's why he stood up for me, and I appreciate it. And that was what he lived by, and that was his. Those were the blocks of being a man. Oh, so much for those blocks.
Well, it's like you said, loyalty requires. He would have had to take a risk on losing immortality that he would achieve by creating
and that's the only way you
heavyweight champion.
100%. But the only way you ever find out if somebody is really that,
it's hard.
Is the test.
Yeah.
And it was Cuss.
This is Shakespearean, this story.
Cuss told me. Cuss said, and the tests come in different forms.
Yeah.
I said, all right, Cuss.
This was his test.
And some people pass this test because they're able to pass that test, because it's not really a test. Not for them, because it doesn't speak to their weakness. But it's the test that speaks to the weakness. That's the one. So this one, I get it. I get what it spoke to, Cuss. And you know what? At the end of the day, I forgive you. And I feel bad for you. I feel bad that you were put in that position after you lived your life that way, and that you taught that and you preached that from the mountaintops, that you had to be I'm not going to use the word, but that you had to fail yourself, and that you had to somehow know that before you died. I just pray that you didn't know that. And you still don't know that, because you were great. You were great. And you've given me some. You've given me some to aspire towards. To try to be less weak. Try to be better. And try to be as good as you want it to be. I wish I can someday. More importantly, I wish I could make my father, feel good up there.